Yes, people, parents, good night. Hope you're all doing fine. Hope you're alright. Now, I want to do this lesson, right? And this lesson is just to get you guys to understand, get you guys to be able to help your kids, right? Because a lot of the kids sometimes they just need guidance. Them no workless like how the parents always thinks in them workless. Them no hard for learn like how the parents always thinks them hard for learn. But the kids need guidance, right? Now, a lot of us think reading is hard, but reading is not as hard as how we think it is. Reading is very easy, actually, right? Now, one of the things that we have to be able to do, one of the things that we have to be able to know, one of the things that we have to be able to help the kids with, right, is the ability to be able to know the sounds, and not just know the sounds, but can, whenever you ask them what sounds they're hearing and stuff like that, they are able to tell you at a fast rate, right? Thank you for the gift, Olivia. Right? Tell you at a fast rate. Now, I am just going to focus on few letters, right? Not a lot, just a few letters. Now, the name of that letter in that box, I'm not going to tell you yet. Because whenever we talk about reading, the name of the letter is not as much as important as the sound it makes. So, what we want to do is, we want for them to be able to know the sound that the letters make, right? It all depends on how you want to teach your child. It's just up to you, right? A lot of people start with the alphabet, and a lot of people start by using the sounds. If you're reading, the sound is important. The name of the letter is not as important. But you have some kids who actually leave from the name of the letters to the sound, because how they learn it, right? They see that letter and them say F, and then they make the sound for it, which is F, right? It all depends on how they learn it. You have some of them who don't even know the name of it, right? But when you tell them the name of the letter, they can say, alright, it makes a sound. So a lot of them know it, but some of them, everybody know it different. Everybody learn it different. So we know as the parents have to find how them understand it, how them learn it, and stuff like that. Not all of them know it. Not all of them don't know, say them don't know it. I don't even know if I say at this point. But the truth is this. The sound that this letter make is they have to know that, right? That is only one sound. Only one sound, right? Now, let's add another sound to it. So I'm going to draw another box, right? Should we draw it this still? So I'm going to rub it out, and I'm going to draw it again. See? So I'm going to draw two boxes. Draw two box. The letter there. And the letter there. So now we have two sounds. And this is where reading starts. This is where reading starts. We have A. That's two sounds. Right? But a lot of people cannot read as simple as that. I'm not talking about baby. No. Right? Yes, babies are included. But me not just talk about baby. There's a lot of people that don't know how to read these two sounds together. So it's not a crime. Right? But it is for you to recognize if you can do it or not and find the help if necessary. If you don't want to find the help, that is on you, right? But when it come to the little baby them parents, all I am saying is don't make the pitney them suffer because feel to say no, or don't make the pitney them suffer because they say no have the time for the pitney them. That's all me I say. Don't make the pitney them come at a certain age and still not able to do certain thing that should be simple for them to do only if you as the parent did just pay a little bit attention to the baby them. That's all I'm saying. Well, alright, fine. You not pay as much attention with the ear now, so you can bring the baby with you so that you can learn and let the baby learn. Right? If I ask you what sound this make and you can tell me, and if I ask you what sound this make, and you can also tell me, you're ready to start read. Yeah, that's just the truth. You're ready to start read. Why? Because reading is when we put the sound of this and the sound of this together. That is the very basic. It can't get no easier than that. That's the most basic two sounds coming together, right? Now, we have two sounds. This is f, this is a. We can hold this sound for as long as possible that we can until we reach that sound. But whenever we reach here, it has to change. So we can say fa, because it changes when it reaches this, because this is a. So the sound, you notice I never say A. I never say F-A. Right? Because I'm not spelling. I am reading. So I read the sound of this letter. Right? Which means you have to be able to can just look at it and say, alright then, this is the sound that it makes. You have to look at this and can tell the sound that this letter makes, which is right? And you have to can look at them and say what sound they make. You have to be able to can look at it. If you can't just look on this and tell me the sound what it make, are the first trouble that we in. Are the first problem that we in. Why? Because when you're supposed to making the sound for this, you're thinking about the letter. Which means you think say, oh, this is a F. Oh, which sound F make again? So your brain of you go through too much things before you can come to a conclusion of what this sound is. Parents, the only way to solve this problem is through repetition. I don't care who you are. I don't know who you are. But I am telling you, the only way to solve this problem is through repetition. There is no teacher, there is no expert, there is nobody upon TikTok or upon this universe who can just make you get this one go. If you're very smart and very intelligent, you can. But it still need practice. It still need repetition. So don't feel like say when you do it one time, that is enough. There's nobody out here upon the internet. None. Not one single person who can just do one class with you, one session with you, and okay, everything is fine. It will never happen. Unless you're Kim Peek. Unless you're Kim Peek. But I am saying though, you need to be able to recognize the sound that these make. just by looking at it. I don't have to tell you which letter this is before I can tell you the sound. And that is one of the good things about my reading ability. I can just look at this and say f, and I can just look at this and say ah, and I can put both of them together. When I say both of them, I mean both sounds. F, ah. No, you have a lot of people who, when they put them together, because this is f and this is ah, what they tend to say is f, ah. And if you try to tell them to say it fast, they say f, ah. They are trying to say this and this individually. But again, it takes repetition and it takes practice to start getting them to say both of these together as one. Now, when you put f, ah together, what you now get is what? Fa. Fa. If you listen carefully, you can hear the very first sound that I am making, which is the same sound that is recognized with the letter F. The same sound is f. So whenever I say fa, you hear that f, f. That is the sound that this letter makes. So then you have to can make the sound with that letter make if you want to read. And if you can't make that sound, something is going to eat your supper. No, this is ah. It gets tricky with this one. Why? Because this letter can make more than one sound. Like for example, let's say that we have the word big, right? Let's say we have the word any, right? Now, in these two words, right? I can put another one. Let's say we have the word fast. In those words, you will see the letter A over and over. Over and over. And that is where it gets tricky. Because the letter A don't just say ah. But that is the sound that we're going to start with. Why? The sound we're going to start it with ah. For the baby them, for people who have difficulty with learning how to read, with people who find it challenging to put these sounds together, we're starting with ah. The reason for starting with ah is because we want to start with CVC words. Why do we want to start with CVC words? We want to start with CVC words because inside of a CVC word, the vowel is going to make a short sound. The short sound for this letter is ah. So if we start with ah, it is more consistent, it is more stable, and we don't have to switch it up too much. We don't have to do the switchy thing. We can just work with that short sound over and over and over because we're doing it within a syllable. Right? Now, those two sounds go together and you get fa. Right? Now you have fa. I'm going to put both of them in a one box. So now we have two individual sounds coming together to give us fa. This is f. This is ah. F, ah. When we put both of them together, we get fa. Now I'm going to put a dot underneath this, a dot underneath this, and a dot for represent that, and a dot for represent that. Now, if you can say fa, what you don't know is that I read you read. But let's take it a step back a little bit. Not only that you read, you talk. When you talk and you say fa, you don't even know say you're putting these two sounds together. Many people do not know that. I come here and I tell you, if you can talk, talking is practically the same thing as reading. The difference is, When you're reading off the sounds you're reading the sounds from the letters. Right? But when you're talking from your mouth. But at the same mouth you're going to use for talk the sound here. And you see a mouth you have to use for say at the same mouth you have to use to say ah. So now this is why the recognition is important, where you have to recognize what sound this letter make. And again, for this purpose, we are using the short vowel sound, which is ah. When you read these two, you get fa. Now, we can add another sound. And by adding another sound, me I go put another box. So now guess what? This was what? 2 box? Cool. 2 independent sounds, right? This is now 2 box again. But guess what? In this box, it don't just have 1 sound, it have 2. So inside here, me can put a 2. Right there, so me can put a 1. Me can put a 1. And me can put a 1. Now, again, this is already read. This is already together. When you talk, it come out already blended. So when you talk and say fa, this is what you say. Fa. But to say fa, you had to put these two together. Fa is these 2. Fa, these 2. Fa. Now, this is where it gets more important that you know the sounds of the letters. I'm going to ask you for the name of this, you know. More you know the sound and can recognize what the sound say. What sound does this letter say? If you know what sound this letter say, drop a 1 in the chat. If you know what sound this letter say, drop a 1 in the chat. And if you have a baby beside you who know the sound what the letter say, drop it in the chat. Good. Now, this is what I'm going to say to you, right? And listen carefully. There is a lot of people out there in this world that think that they cannot make the correct pronunciation for this. And I am going to say this. And I want you guys to listen carefully and make sure you say, oh no, make the mistake. This letter does not say ta, it does not say ti, and it does not say tu. It does not say ta, it does not say ti, it does not say tu, and it does not say to, or it does not say te. It does not. But what I can tell you is that even if you probably don't know the correct pronunciation of this, if you can say the word mat, mat where you walk upon, and if you can say the word pot, pot, anti-pot, and if you can say pot, like where you're cooking a pot, you already make the pronunciation for this letter properly. You just need to listen. You just need to listen to what you're saying so that you can hear the sound. The sound that this letter is making comes at the end of the word that I'm calling. Mat. So the correct pronunciation of this letter is not T. Because when I say mat, you don't hear T. When I say mat, you don't hear ta. When I say mat, you don't hear tu. Why? Because the words that you speak already carries the correct and proper pronunciation of the words. If you can work in the reverse, that means you already know the correct and proper pronunciation, but the chances are you probably just don't know, you're not aware, or you can't recognize it as yet. But what? I tell you now when I come on the live, There is nobody who can make you get this in a one go. It takes repetition. So if you are a parent out there who feel like say, oh, 5 minutes and 10 minutes is too much for your child. Well, you have another guest coming because you're going to need more than 5 and 10 minutes. You're going to need 5 minutes today, tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, and listen, you're going to need time and repetition. You don't have to do 1 hour, one time. Take the picnic, take the baby, right? Do 10 minutes and 15 minutes with the baby so that the baby can get something in the baby brain. Then now, you make the baby rest. You pick it up back later. Don't talk about you don't have the time. If you don't have the time, find it. And if you can't find it, bite. Simple. If you cannot find the time, make the time. And if you can't make time, buy the time. Come on, parents. We have to spend more time with the children. Them repetition is important. It no matter who you is. Whether you're big, whether you're small, even me, myself. Repetition. Because me have to come out here for keep on telling you each time. Me don't say una now go get it in a one go. I am sure. So me have to come out here now and come back and come back and come back because the repetition is what is going to make you better. It a go make me better too, you know. But it is you who need to make sure so you do your repetition. Right? Now, back to this thing here. Now, this is fa because this is 2 sound inside of the one box. Fa. And then we'll move over to this sound. So, when I say fa, you notice you don't hear a sound for this? So, if this was a line journey, if this was a journey, right? And I say fa, it means that when me done say fa, I right here upon the journey me there. When I say fa, I right here so me there. Fa, because I complete the sound for this, and I complete the sound for this together. So fa, I right here somewhere. I don't hear this up to this point. If you hear this letter when I say fa, it means that you're thinking of something else. You know, listen to what me I say. Again, fa. I don't say nothing else after that. But guess what? There's a lot of people who, when you do this with them, what they tend to do is that they would say fa and then put on another letter, not knowing that that letter will change the entire word. That one single letter will change the entire word. Right? Somebody might say fast. That's not the word, because when you say fast, you're not here anymore. You're over on this side now. When you say fam, you're not right here. You're over here because you passed this now. If there's nothing here and you make a sound here, it's going to be incorrect. And there's nobody who needs to tell you that it is going to be incorrect. Because the universe itself, I go tell you, all you need to do is listen. Your ears is going to tell you. All you need to do is just listen. Right? Now, fa, t. When I say fa, you hear a little gap between before you hear t. Right? Listen again. Fa, t. Fa, t. You hear that little gap there, don't it? You see that little gap there? That little space there? We don't want it in there. Because now we are putting all of the sounds together. So now what it comes down to is 3 sounds in the one box now. Right? Not just... I'm going to put the 3 there so because this represents 3 sounds. Right? Remember where we are coming from, you know. One single sound says f. The second sound says ah. When we put both of these together, we get fa. Right? Fa, t. When we put fa, t together, what it sound like, you say? We just need to listen. Fa, t. We just need to remove the little gap that is here. Fa. So we don't want to say fa and stop right here. We want to carry it right over. Fa, t, fat. People, I don't know if you not hear me, you know. Because the internet here behave like it's not an internet. If you hear me, drop a letter in the chat. Drop any letter in the chat if you hear me. Good. Good night, Gloria. How you do? Fresh. Big up yourself, Anthony. Big up yourself. Now, back to what I say. Because you're not here. Again. Is one single sound. One single sound. We not read one single sound. We can't read one single sound. But when we make that one single sound, we can hear it. Right? So, we need a minimum of 2 sounds to actually start reading. This is, we're using this to be ah. Ah. So that's 2 sounds. But when I say ah, that's 2 independent sounds. So when I say you hear a little break, then you hear ah. Ah. But we want to eliminate this break that we have right here. So when we say so now we have to conjoin them together, and when we put them together we get fa. So now you don't hear no little break between it. Fa. Fa. Me never stop talking until me reach over there, so. Fa. Put the 2 of them together. Fa. Repeat the process again. We repeat the process again. Right? The process is what? Fat. We want to get out this space. Fat. We can switch up the letters them. Let's put a M this time. But when we say M, that is the name of it. M is the name of it. But we don't want the name. We want them to know the sound. So we want them to be able to can look at this and to can tell what sound it is making. That is what we want from the babies then. Right? And for you, if you're not good at reading, that is also what you want. You don't want to look at this and I say M. Unless me ask you to spell. I mean not ask you to spell. Me ask you to call the sound of the letter. Right? Call the sound of the letter. What is the sound of the letter? You know when you get food and it's nice and you rub your belly? That is the sound. Right? So now we have fa. But remember, there's a little gap there. So when we say fa and stop. So when we say fa, it's like me stop right there so. But me don't want to stop right there so. I want to carry it go right over until me stop over here so. When me complete this sound. So me can't say fa and stop. Because this is not included. I want to say what? Fam. Fam. And that is how I can get these 3 sounds right here so. After I complete fam, I write here somebody now. That is my location. I completed these 3 sounds. When I say f, I write here somebody. Because I only one sound I complete. When I say ah, I write here so because I only one sound I complete. When I put these 2 sounds together and say fa, I write here so because I 2 sounds I complete. Fa. This is when I put all 3 of them together, Fam. Fam is the word. But to get there, it takes repetition and it takes practice. Right? There is many ways to go about it. It all depends on who the child is and how the child learn. Right? Because I can do this in a more than one way. I can do this by saying, put the F over there so, and put the AM over there so. Right? Put that to itself, put that to itself. It all depends on how you want to do it. You can again put the FA together, right? And then put in the M. How you want to do it. It's up to you. Right? It's how you want to do it. It's how the child learn. You just have to find out how the child learn so that you can be able to help the child. See? Now, one thing I like with this way is that I can stress it entirely. Right? This is fa. But I can draw out this so much that it even make the sound change. Right? I can draw it out. But sometimes I don't like doing that. But sometimes it is good because it helps you to stretch and catch. So I can say fa. This is fa, right? I can hold this and say fa. I can drag it out. Fa. And I still don't reach here yet. But what that do, it get me to hold on to this until I get here. So I can say fam. And you start to hear like it is blending. Because that is what we want the child to do. Blend. Fam. By doing that over and over and over and over. Repetition. Fam. 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 By speeding up and speeding up and speeding up. Because what you don't know is that when you drag it out like that, you know, slow motion, it is no different than if you watch a movie in a slow motion and you hear them and say, run, go, because it's slow down. So by stressing out this and dragging out this, we are actually slowing it down, but we don't talk so. We don't talk so slow, so it sounds weird. But the good thing is that when you stress it out now, you can get to practice. Fam. I'm going to change this right here, so. And put a T again. Fat. I'm going to change this now and put a P now. Fap. I'm going to change this from a P now and put a B now. Fab. And you can do that over and over. And you will start get the practice, the principle, over and over. Anyways, people, that's it for me tonight. Hope you have a wonderful night. Hope you learn something. Who enjoy it. I just say it go. Who get something from it. I just say it go. Right? So, that's it for tonight. Have a great night. Have a good night.